to the Big Boof Bets Week 5 NFL Get That Money podcast.
Yeah, let's get that money.
Get that money. This is Nate Stephenson. I am joined by Mr. Big Boofy Scureman over here. How you doing, Boof?
I'm doing all right, man. I was feeling a little down after last week, but kicked off the week well with the Seahawks and the Rams hitting the over for me. So we're off to a good start this week, looking to rebound.
Amen to that. Last week sucked. We'll get to that in a minute here, but I'm with you on that. I had a nice Thursday night there. Had a nice little prop bet. Gurley scoring a touchdown. Carson with his touchdown, plus 375. So we hit on that, which was very nice. I had a little birdie whisper in my ear that he really liked the Rams plus 1.5. And the over 49.5 for plus 260. Also got that in a parlay, so that parlay is still alive, looking very, very tasty. So
I always like the mini parlay within a parlay.
I mean, yeah, it's great.
That's that Nate stuff right there.
I love that. More parlays I can stack into a parlay.
Parlay into a parlay.
Parlay the parlay and parlay my more cake into more cake. Get a lot of cake and let's eat that cake. And I'm very happy. But so yeah, this week already looking better than last week. The Locks took a beating last week. It was a rough week for the Locks last week.
Well, it's tough to stay on that 6-1 pace. We came back down to the mean a little bit, I suppose.
A little bit.
We're down to 7-4.
That's still 63% of the season, though. That's still, most people are gonna take that. That's a pretty good season, the 63% success rate.
Maybe. Well, we're looking to bring that back up this week.
Amen. I like to be above 70 personally, so I agree. I think we can definitely get back on track here. It's week 5, as we've said. It's now the witching hour. We have some data on the league. This is where we start to clean up and really up that win total, that win percentage, and start to really get that money.
Let's get that money.
Let's get that money. And with that, are you ready to move on to this week's slate of games there, sir?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Obviously, we're recording this on Friday, so we missed the Thursday night game. So we already know what happened there, so we're not even going to bother with that. And we're going to start with the Ravens giving 3.5 at the Steelers. The total is 44. I couldn't tell you who's going to win this game. It scares either way. I've looked at this from both ways. I can't definitively say who's going to win this game. So when I immediately feel like that, I want no part of the spread. But the total 44, I don't know, man. This just looks like a classic AFC North slugfest to me. You have the Ravens who, when they played anyone half decent, I don't think they're the world beaters they seem to be when they played the crap they played the first couple games of the year. The only reason they got 25 against the Browns is because it was garbage time. The Cleveland was just trying to get the game over with. Then you have the Steelers with Mason, who they look decent with a very conservative game plan against the Bengals, who are one of the worst teams in the league. 44 points, man. I love the under in this game. I think that's your safest bet, and not only your safest bet, but a really, really good bet. I think whatever happens in this game, there's not going to be a lot of points scored, and one of the teams is not going to score barely any. Whoever that is, I couldn't tell you exactly, but I'm pretty confident that is how the game is going to play out.
I think we kind of see this one, see eye to eye on this one. Steelers obviously got going a little bit against Cincinnati last week. Still a conservative game plan. They're still playing a lousy team. Baltimore will be much better than the Bengals were. Baltimore, like you said, they really have beat up on a couple bad teams, and then they lost to the Chiefs. They lose to the Browns. Did score some points in those games, so that's concerning given that we're taking an under. But the nature of these games for a long time has just been it's a defensive battle. The fact that the Steelers are on their backup quarterback, they've already been conservative. The Ravens are going to come out here. They're going to try and get the running game going. The Steelers are going to amp up to try and stop it.
Plus, you have Juju who might not even play.
That's what I'm saying. Juju's injured, or Juju's hobbled. He might play, might not. Not necessarily going to be 100%. Vance McDonald's still out.
A lot of concerns offensively.
For me, I like the under 44. It is in my top 5. I believe it is in Nate's as well.
Yes,
that makes it a lock.
That is a lock, baby. Lock it in.
We're kicking off the week with a lock here. And we got the Steelers, Ravens under 44.
Lock it in, baby. Get that money. Next game, we got the Bears -5 at the Raiders. Total is 40.
Quotation marks on at.
Yes, quotation marks on at indeed.
But they're both at London.
They are at the Raiders in London, not in Oakland. So the Raiders at home, not at home. This is the 3rd of 7 games away from Oakland. Can't say not at home since the Raiders are at home in London. But this is the 3rd of 7 games away from Oakland for the Raiders. Surprisingly, I will say, the Raiders did get one on the Colts last week, but I do think that had a lot more to do with the Colts injuries than the Raiders actually being worth a damn. And then on top of that, now from what I'm hearing, Tyrell Williams, their number 1 wide receiver, still is questionable for the game, dealing with a foot injury. That gives me a lot of pause there, a lot of concern. That leaves pretty much 2 guys on offense that the Bears have to worry about. You got Waller at tight end, who is having a fantastic season, definitely a breakout season at tight end, and then Jacobs. The Bears are a pretty damn good defense, and they can shut down, the best offenses in the league. Now you give them literally only 2 guys they have to worry about potentially. I don't care if Bitchke isn't playing anyway. Like, I love the Bears in this game. I think -5 is very doable. If you allow Khalil Mack and all them to narrow in and tee off, even if the Bears don't score a lot with Chase Daniel backup, which, by the way, might not be a downgrade, I could see the defense scoring a touchdown or 2. -5 doesn't really scare me with the Bears here. I think you have a weary Raiders team. They're doing their best to just keep their head above water. Give me the Bears -5. It's not a lock. I know you're not in on this one, but I do really like the Bears -5. That are in my top 5 this week.
Yeah, I disagree. I hate this game. The traveling to London just is an extra element. All the stuff as far as like how bad the Raiders are offensively and how they're going to deal with the Bears defense. The Raiders don't necessarily have the same defense to match this on the opposite end of it, but for me, the Bears stink on offense. They are on their backup quarterback. According to the Bears, it is a downgrade. I mean, we're talking about Allen Robinson being probably their best weapon over there, or Tarek Cohen. None of these guys, to me, are all-pro caliber players, and I don't see them just coming out. I mean, if it was under a field goal, I think you can feel a lot more comfortable about something like that, but we're getting into -5 territory. No way do I trust the Raiders enough to cover it, but I do not trust the Bears to cover that either. I hate this game.
Well, I do have a question for you here, though. Do you, and I know most of the time we dismiss the emotional factor, the revenge factor, stuff like that when it comes to the NFL, because these are guys who, let's be real, I mean, they have a lot of, you're in the NFL, you're a good player, you're a motivated player most of the time, but can we put any extra emphasis on the fact that, Khalil Mack playing against his old team, someone who, didn't want to give him the money, traded him away. You can't really say gave up on him, but in certain respects, basically said, you're not worth it. We don't want to pay you, and we're getting rid of you. I mean,
I don't know how much better you expect him to be than what he's already done.
I expect him to come out and want to whoop ass. Not that he doesn't.
He's already been doing it.
I know that. That's the thing.
What more are we expecting?
And that's where I go back and forth on this, because Khalil Mack is obviously he's.
I expect him to be a dominant force like he's been every single game.
Amen. He is a front runner for defensive MVP every year. But it's one of those things.
No, I don't put any extra stock in it.
Well, I guess what I'm saying.
To answer your question.
Okay, fair enough. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you give me a 0.1% extra motivation for a player like that, who is already super scary, I'm already exponentially more scared. So please, I don't want any part of that guy. It doesn't. Yeah, no. Give me the Bears. I know you don't like it, but I think he's gonna have a big game. I could see him scoring a defensive touchdown in this game too. He's just gonna literally rub it in their face. He's gonna be like, eat it. I'm trying to keep it fairly clean here. But, all right, so next game here. We got the Bills getting 3 points at the Tennessee Titans. Total was 38.5. Late information we got right before we started the podcast tonight was that Allen is trending towards playing after it looking like he would not. I'm not going to lie, Boof, that really changes my outlook on this game. This was a game I wanted no part of. The only thing I was mildly entertaining was the under of 38.5, but that's a low total. Anything in the 30s is scary for me. But the Bills do have a fantastic defense. The Titans have actually looked pretty. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Titans and my beating stick, Marcus Mariota, have actually looked half decent to start the year so far. But it's just, to me, it's just a matter of time before he has that Mariota blow up game. Threw 3 touchdowns, no picks last week. Didn't get sacked at all after me talking a bunch of shit, saying all he does is not throw touchdowns, get picked, and get sacked. So, apparently he listens to our podcast and threw the double bird up at Nate over here. So, but the thing is, I don't think he realized he's playing the Bills this week, and I think this is where he gets curb stomped, throws 3 picks, gets sacked 5 times, and the Titans lose. As a whole, +3 is too tight for me because I could see it going either way. I would lean the under in this game, but beyond that, I'm not really gonna mess with it straight up as far as the not altering the spread at all. So that's kind of where I'm at with this game, Mr. Boofy.
I love the Bills in this game. I think for me, I think they're going to win the game. If you're giving me 3 points, I don't give them back, like I've said before. I thought, like you said, I mean, they almost beat New England last week. Besides that, they have won every other game. Tennessee, to me, is not very good, and I look for the Bills to get back on track with the W. Again, you're giving me 3 points. I know it's on the road. I'll get over it. Bills +3. They are in my top 5.
All right. With that, we'll move on to the Cardinals and Bengals. Cards are getting 3 points at Cincinnati. Total is 47.5. A couple important injury notes here for the Cardinals. They are going to be without Christian Kirk and Damiere Byrd. Being that they do like to go 4 wide a lot, that's a big deal. Now you're looking at being a little thin at wide receiver, injecting second-round rookie out of UMass, Mr. What's his name? I had to look for it for a second here. Mr. Andy Isabella, who is last name Isabella?
This guy.
This guy, apparently. He's being compared to Julian Edelman, so maybe we should pay attention to him. I don't know. He hasn't done nothing this year, though. You have the Cardinals, who haven't looked that great. They're facing a really, really crappy Bengals team. No John Ross at receiver. They got the crap beat out of them by the Steelers, who were not even trying to do that much offensively with their conservative game plan. So, I mean, this is one of those games where it's like, it's 2 bad teams. 2 bad teams introduces so much unpredictability. You have some injuries on both sides. It's definitely not a game I'm putting in anything of that I feel great about. I would slightly lean Cardinals +3 just because I think the Bengals defense is so bad. And if you're making me pick between 2 rookie head coaches here, I think the Cardinals have a little bit more talent on offense with Murray. I think they're not going to go 0-16, so I expect them to get a win here at some point. But, yeah, as a whole, don't really love the game.
Yeah, I hate this game. You pretty much named all the reasons. I don't need to talk about it more.
All right, moving on. Next game, we got Jacksonville at Carolina. Jacksonville is getting 3 points. Total is 40. So you got Jalen Ramsey, who still has a back injury, a.k.a. I don't feel like playing this week because I still don't like anybody and I want traded. So there's that. Minshew Mania is slightly hobbled with a bum knee. And then as far as the Panthers are concerned, they have offensive line issues, even though they have budding Kyle Allen looking pretty damn good so far. They could have they very well could have a rookie sixth round pick starting at left tackle. Man, you have a guy like that protecting a young quarterback's blind side against the Jacksonville defense that is still pretty damn good even without Ramsey. That's a little scary. 3 points. Minshew just seems to have an ability in his young career already to just keep it close or in question till the end and give them a chance to win. And that's a great quality to have in a quarterback. But it's not a great quality when you're trying to figure out what you want to do against a team like that. So I'm not going to go any farther than lean Carolina because I think as a whole they have the better defense with Kuechly and the better supporting cast on offense with guys like McCaffrey and Moore and Olsen. But it's just something like Minshew magic, man, has me a little scared. So I will do nothing more than lean Carolina laying the 3 points, but that's as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I've been screwed over so many times by Jacksonville and Carolina.
Really?
We've talked about this before. Maybe more of that was Cam Newton in the past, and he has that ability to kind of win a game or lose a game all by himself. And
many times. Good Cam or bad Cam?
Exactly. What are you going to get? But obviously that element is gone in this game. If you're making me pick it, I would take the Panthers -3, but it's not something that I feel comfortable with. So for me, this is a stay away kind of game.
All right, fair enough. So we will be moving on to the Vikings at the Giants. Vikings are giving. I keep saying getting. I wish the Vikings were getting 5 points. The Vikings are giving 5 points at the G-Men. Total is 43.5. So yeah, Kirk Cousins sucked last week. I know.
Shocker.
Yeah, big surprise on that one. I know you were just enlightening me actually before the show here, Boof. You saw something very interesting pertaining to our boy.
Yeah, I saw a funny clip on the internet, and I don't even know if it's a real thing or not, but just the clip itself, I felt, summed it all up. And it was like a gender reveal thing where Cousins is thrown at this like big cardboard box, like 2 or 3 yards away from him, and he just barely clips the side of it, and the blue dust shoots out, and hey, it's a boy, blah blah blah. But point was, we're missing a target that's 2 or 3 yards away here for an NFL quarterback that just recently signed a very large contract. And I feel like that's exactly what I'm watching on Sundays here. So his own receivers are very unhappy about it. It's my understanding that Stephon Diggs was a no-show at practice on Wednesday. They are inventing some sort of illness as far as the last thing I saw now. But he was asked about whether he wants to be traded, and his response was something along the lines of, the rumors are true, or there's some merit to the rumors, or something like that. So he's obviously disgruntled. When your own guys aren't believing in the most important position on the team, it is tough for me to have a whole lot of faith in the team. So if you were making me, I would take the Giants +5 here, but it's still a stay away kind of game for me. But I definitely do not like the Vikings.
Well, I got to say, Boof, considering he's leading the league with 6 fumbles this season so far, I'm surprised he held onto the ball long enough to throw it and hit the box in the first place. So there's that.
That's the other part.
But I got to say, like, you definitely talked me out of one here. I was leaning Giants -5, like hard lean.
You mean the Vikes -5?
Yes, that would be the Vikings -5.
Right,
See, even subconsciously, my mind doesn't want to pick this game. I was leaning the Vikings -5. Jones does look pretty good.
You got to be impressed by him so far.
I'm very impressed
Small
by him.
sample size.
Very impressed. I mean, it's only a couple games, but he's definitely infused a lot of energy into that offense. I mean, the Giants are 2-2 right now. I mean, they're
2-0 with him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the G-Men right now, you're be like, hey man, we're in the race.
You're feeling good.
We're feeling pretty good about stuff. You have a Vikings team that's got some internal turmoil. That is never good. The thing that scares me a little bit though, as far as which way to go exactly with this game, Barkley is still out. That is a huge part of the Giants' offense. I know Jones, took care of business against Tampa Bay. Scored a lot of points, dramatic comeback victory once Barkley got hurt. Took care of business against a really crappy Redskins team, but let's be real, the Redskins are a really crappy team. So now, honestly, I think this is going to be one of those games where you're really going to learn a lot about Daniel Jones this week because he's facing a top-notch defense in Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's
That's why at the end of the day I'm staying away from it.
yeah, it's almost like this is almost like a week 2 or week 3 game, because in reality, I mean, Jones only has 2 games under his belt. So the Giants have been a different team with Jones under center. So yeah, you've talked me out of one, man. I was going to lean hard Vikings, but I think we're just going to leave it at a pass. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right, next game we got the Patriots at the Redskins. Total is 42. Patriots are laying 15 points, and Boof, am gladly going to lay those 15 points. I would probably lay 21 points. I think the Patriots are going to roll. As we just said, the Redskins suck. Like, really suck. Like, they are almost Dolphins level bad, which I don't even know if that was possible for another team to be, considering the Dolphins are literally already legendary status bad for the NFL. So we already know the Patriots are awesome. The Redskins suck. I'm not even going to go into it that much more. Colt McCoy starting at quarterback. He sucks. They have no Jordan Reed, no Vernon Davis, and a hobbled McLaurin, who's, when your weapon is speed and you have a hamstring injury, that's a big deal. So they have nothing on offense. They have nothing on defense. The Patriots are the Patriots. The Patriots roll. I'll lay the 15 all day.
I had this in my top 5 until I saw the Bills line. So I'm definitely with you. I like them to win by 15. I actually have the under 42 in my top 5. So
that is a good bet. I do like that bet.
Patriots defense has given up a touchdown for the whole season. Like you said, the Skins are with, at best, a hobbled McLaurin. He still might not even play.
He's been their best receiver. I mean, that's a big deal.
We got a coach who doesn't like the quarterback that they drafted. So that's what half of the organization wants to be in the game.
Dude, he's trying to start everyone
Keenum,
else.
who they signed, is out, so we're rolling with Colt McCoy.
Have you ever heard of an organization?
They just scored 3 points on the Giants.
Yeah.
Who I don't think everybody thinks of them as having a studly defense over there.
I mean, can you ever remember an organization drafting a guy number 1 overall? I mean, normally.
Well, not number 1 overall, but with
first round pick.
10.
Normally,
and the head coach doesn't even want him, is what we're hearing about now. And it's like, how does that happen? So I don't know. I think the whole situation there is terrible.
Agreed.
And it's the result that you're seeing on the field.
Agreed. And what I was trying to say is, can you ever recall an organization drafting a guy in the first round and doing everything they can to not play him? I mean, normally when the guy they have in there that's the veteran guy, normally in front of a guy like that, goes down, or just they take him out because of poor performance, they're like, oh great, we have our easy excuse to put him in. They're looking for anyone and everyone else to put in there instead of him. And which confused the hell out of me. But now hearing from you were from what you had told me about Gruden not liking him, well, that makes more sense in why he's not playing. But it doesn't make any sense why they drafted him.
Yeah, I don't get all that. As far as the minus 15 goes, New England, they've always felt that the best way to put a team away is to just keep scoring.
I love that.
I personally agree with that philosophy.
I love that.
And I still think you can feel pretty comfortable with the minus 15. I would call that my 6th pick, if you will. So I like that a lot as well.
Agreed. And
my top 5 pick is the under 42. I do think we're going to hold the Skins quite low.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think you're looking at like a 35, 38.
27 to 3, 30 to 3, something like that.
Absolutely. I don't see them scoring more than a field goal or touchdown tops. That's why before we move on here, an interesting prop that I liked was actually the Pats minus 14.5 and the under, which is boosted up to 43.5. That'll
get even more.
That'll give you a plus 250 return. So $100 bet will give you $250. That's a pretty good one. I like that a lot.
Yeah, nice payout for something that I think is pretty likely to happen.
Very likely. Very likely. I like that a lot. So hopefully you get a little extra cheese on that one. And so next game we're going to move on here to the Jets and Eagles. The Jets are getting plus 14.5 points at Philly. Totals 43.5. I hate this game. I mean, no Darnold gives it a little bit of clarity. He's supposedly still not cleared for contact. So you can't depend on the Jets to score. But on the other hand, you have an Eagles team that has struggled to cover. I hate this game. I just hate this game.
I also hate this game. I mean, I expect the Eagles to roll, but 14.5 is rolling, so that's about right as far as the spread goes. I'm not willing to pick either side of it.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the next game.
I'm good. Screw that. All right, next game we got Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tampa Bay is getting 3 points. The total is 45.5. I like the total a lot better at 47, which is where I grabbed it on Monday.
That's a nice one, dude. I wish I would have when you sent that to me.
Yeah, I was I was literally on the way to the Steelers-Bengals Monday night game, and I just randomly was like, you know what? I wonder what the Saints-Buccaneers total is, because I just had a random thought. I was like, man, they only beat Dallas 12-10, which was a big surprise. I was like, I just wonder what they have that total at. And I looked, I was like, I text Boof, and dude, this total's 47. I was like, my knee-jerk reaction immediately is to grab the under on this game. So, I mean, of course, put a quick parlay in on the way to the Steeler game. Why not?
Obviously.
Gotta throw it in there. Grab it while it's hot.
What else does one do with such information?
I mean, exactly. You gotta, it's like a good interest rate, man. You gotta grab it while you can.
You gotta lock it in.
Gotta lock it in. So yeah, it's one of those things where my immediate rationale was Saints D. If the Saints D is holding Dallas down at home, I feel pretty good about their chances to hold down intercepted Jameis Winston, who's always due for a blow up. He just blew up in a good way in LA against the Rams. And we all know it's only a matter of time before Jameis just gives, 2, 3, 4 turnovers and potentially a touchdown away to the other team. So, yeah.
Hopefully not a touchdown, but.
Well, I mean, even so.
Hopefully it's in plus territory.
I agree. But
another 80 yards before we got to worry about.
I agree, but at the same time, I mean, even if he does that, fine. All right, so the Saints win 27-10. That's still under 47.
Yeah,
so
that'll still get it done.
I feel pretty good about the under here. The reason I'm hesitant on the 3 either way is because there is the potential. You do have Mike Evans. You do have a improved looking Jameis Winston for the moment. I will say this: if he puts up a good game in New Orleans, I'll maybe
feel a little different.
I'll maybe get off the Jameis Winston bashing bandwagon. But until you give me some consistency, string a couple pretty good games together, including some against good competition, hostile environments, all the such, which this would certainly count for that. Then finally, I'll give you some credit, but I still think I've not liked Jameis Winston ever since he was drafted. And he's done nothing to change my mind on that. So, even if the Tampa Bay wins this game, I still think it could be a low-scoring game. So even if it's 24-20, I mean, that's still under 47. Still under 45.5, actually. So I loved it at under 47. I still like it at under 45.5. I don't like the spread, but I do like the under.
Yeah, I agree on the under. That is another pick that I like this week. It's probably in the 7 to 8 range for me as far as where. This is a game where I agree. I think we're going to really learn whether the last 2 games where Tampa has scored like 31 and then they put up 55 on the Rams. If the dude makes a field goal against the Giants, I mean, you feel a lot differently about Tampa Bay right now. So you'd be sitting here saying, boy, they won 2 in a row and they just put up 55 on the Rams.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
These guys are nice.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So that being said, it's Jameis. I think we're due for a poor game, and that's kind of why I like the under. if we get another good game out of Jameis here, then I might be feeling like, well, him and Bruce Arians are really starting to gel together.
Yep.
And the offense in general is gelling together. And they'll be in the playoff hunt, and they'll be a team that I expect to compete against good teams moving forward.
Oh, yeah, this is a big division game.
I mean, this is a division game on the road. You just saw what the Saints did to the Cowboys, who I know I felt great about last week, and I looked like an idiot. So I am looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. I initially had it in my top 5, but the spread when I looked today was down to 45.5. I didn't like the numbers going down. And then after discussing with Nate, there were a couple other picks that I liked ahead of it. So I bumped them out of my top 5. I still like the under, but it is not top 5 worthy for me.
All right, moving on. Next game, we get the Falcons at the Texans. Falcons are getting 4 points. The total is 50. Do you have two teams that you can't feel good about this year that are supposed to be a lot better than they've shown?
Agreed.
Like we've been saying about how the Falcons are, like it's right there for the taking, and they won't do anything. Long story short, I'm not going to bore you all with statistics. I just don't like this game. Stay away. I don't know what I'm going to get. I really don't have anything else to add. I don't like this game.
Yeah, me neither. It's just so much inconsistency on both ends. They can look amazing on offense. Both can look terrible on offense. And same goes for both of their defenses. I could see this being anywhere from 7-3 to, 63 to 55.
Hardest of passes.
I hate this game.
Hardest of passes.
Good Lord, do I hate this game.
Indeed. Moving on. Moving on to the very large 2-game 4 o'clock slate this week.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, a lot of games on red zone on the 4 o'clock slate this week. We got the first one. We got the Broncos at the Chargers. Total is 44.5. Our Broncos are getting 6.5 points here, man. That's
juicy.
That is a tasty line. Tasty line. I'm like full ball sacking this line. All the injuries for the Chargers, man. Dude, you have 2 safeties out. You have Ingram out. You have all the injuries at receiver for the Chargers. You have Okung out. You have Melvin Gordon, who's basically his first game of the year because he's rusty. And you have Eckler's going to be probably pissed off because he's been carrying the load, and now all of a sudden he's getting his carries cut in half. So now he could be taken out of the flow of the game a little bit. And by the way, you have Phillip Rivers not looking very young because he's kind of old. So it kind of works like that. The Broncos, on the other hand, they're coming in they're hungry for a win, man. You have Von Miller going against not Russell Okung. I like that matchup
for sure.
Getting 6.5 points in a division game, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm taking the Broncos on the money line in a parlay or two. I feel that good about this game. I think the Chargers are gonna be in for a long day. Give me the Broncos all day.
I'm not going to go quite as far as the money line, but I do have the plus 6.5. It is in my top 5. That makes it a lock.
Lock it in.
And I don't know, man. Just so many injuries for the Chargers right now, and people that know me know I kind of like the Chargers, but not this week. I'm sorry.
You don't like them.
And I've been burned by them a couple times already this season, so it's time to start flipping the script and get things going in my favor here. Give me the Broncos plus 6.5. And I'm ready for the next game.
Lock it in, baby.
Lock it in.
Get that money. Next game, we got the Packers of ye old Green Bay at the Dallas Cowboys. Total is 47. Packers are getting 3 points. So immediately you're like, all right, Packers getting 3 points. Aaron Rodgers, defense looking solid this year. Kind of like that. And then I realized that Adams is not playing. So immediately went from liking that to I don't know how I feel about that. When I go to I don't know how I feel about that, I don't want to bet on I don't know how I feel about that. So that's immediately a no-go for me on the point spread. Total 47, I could potentially get on board with the under there. Cowboys are missing, I believe, both starting tackles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a big deal. You would expect Dallas to be a little more conservative and run the ball a little bit more, both with Green Bay's struggles against Philly last week against the run and trying to protect Dak, again, with both of his tackles being out. So that's going to shorten the game. So, and then obviously Green Bay missing some offensive punch with Adams. That's a big deal. So, again, division games tend to be a little closer played and, lower, I say not low scoring, but lower scoring. So, I mean, 47 I think is a decent number. I'd lean under here. I think that's your best bet of as far as, everything concerned here. So, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Cowboys -3. Their injuries at both tackles kind of took it out of the top 5 for me, but I still have it as a pick I like. It'll be involved in some of my picks for sure. The under was interesting. The reality with the Packers is, outside of the Philly game, their offense has been disappointing. So we've had one game where you can feel happy about what they've done offensively. We're now going to take away their number one option at wide receiver, go on the road, play Dallas, who's a defense that all of us like.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like the Cowboys -3. I agree with you on the under. I think that is a juicier and juicier pick the more I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the stuff that I like. I like the boys -3. I like the under, and I have no problem with anybody putting them in their stuff. They'll be involved in some of my stuff as well.
Definitely teaser worthy as well. I mean, just to throw that out there, because I know we like to mess with a little bit of teaser stuff. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I think you can feel if you're giving Dallas, if you're doing a 6.5, 7-point teaser, you're giving Dallas 3.5 or 4 at home, teasing that total up to 53.5 or 54 and taking the under. Those are all things I think you can feel pretty good about.
Yeah, and I mean, and even with the last week, I mean, they lost last week. They didn't cover. Blah blah blah. They gave up 12 points. I mean, that's defensively they showed up.
Oh, I mean, I had Dallas in in the teaser.
Oh, I mean, they were a lock for us last week.
Yeah, I mean, 1-3 last week. But yeah, they
still showed up defensively.
Yep, exactly. The Rams.
And truthfully, I just feel like the Saints showed. I was very impressed with the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints D was impressive at home. But yeah, I agree. All right, moving on to the Sunday night game. We got the Colts at the Chiefs. Total is 56. Colts are getting 11 points. Tyreek Hill still out, getting closer to returning, but still out this week. So, take that under consideration. It hasn't really seemed to affect the Chiefs offensively that much as far as their output, but still noteworthy. I'd say of more note here in this game though is you still have T.Y. Hilton out. So, I mean, you always got to assume the Chiefs are going to score points. So when you're missing a key offensive weapon, to stay in the game, keep it close, that's a big deal. Defensively for the Colts, Darius Leonard does seem to be on his way back, so that's definitely a big boost for them. Plus 11 though, man. I know a big reason that the Colts did lose to the Raiders last week was because Jacoby made a bad decision or two and gifted some points to the Raiders. So you can't always count on that. You can never count on defensive touchdowns. I like the Chiefs to win. I like the Chiefs to win by anywhere from 4 to 7 points. So, I think you can feel good putting them in a teaser. But 11, man, that's a lot. It's a lot. The Colts are still, I think, a fringe playoff team. So, as a whole, not touching the spread or the total, I'm passing on the game. The only thing I feel comfortable saying is the Chiefs are going to win because they are, and Pat Mahomes is awesome.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, 11 points is just too much. KC last week, a lot of dumb turnovers. They also had a lot of dumb turnovers.
4 fumbles.
Yeah, and then they had a lot gifted right back to them too.
Yeah.
Goofy game against the Lions last week. In addition, Mahomes was just off. I mean, I felt like he was missing guys. I don't know what his final stat line was, but just watching the game,
no touchdown passes.
There were probably 6 throws where it's just like he normally puts it right on the money and
It
Chiefs
surprised
are
you.
rolling,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
surprised you. It surprises you when you
It was
see
one
him
of those things,
missing
you
out.
were going and it was like, oh, it's his first game in the Dome. Patrick Mahomes not having to worry about wind and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And he actually was less than impressive. So, in that sense, I would lean Chiefs minus 11 if you were going to make me pick anything.
I agree.
I just see him personally having more of a bounce back game and them in general taking care of the football.
I agree with that.
But it's still it's so many points. And again, I agree. The Colts to me are playoff caliber. And to just say we're going to beat an NFL playoff team by 11 is a lot.
And the biggest thing, too, another thing that really contributes to that is, the Chiefs' defense, although improved, the Chiefs' defense isn't a great
They're not
defense.
good.
They're at best a middle-of-the-road defense as far as rankings in the NFL. So, the Colts do still have some people who can score. So, yeah, that's why you can't just bank on, oh, my God, they're going to blow them out. And
it could easily be a Marlon Mack game, and the Chiefs lose the time of possession.
Yeah, and they could win 35-31.
The game in general,
something like that.
It just shrinks with the amount of plays that are run. You know what I mean? So I don't like it.
If anything, I would. I agree. I'd lean over. I'd lean minus 11, but I probably like the over more than minus 11 just because.
Even that's 56. Like that's no small line either.
Yeah, I know, but what was?
It's a lean. I feel it. You're making me.
Yeah. What did they beat the Lions by last week? Do we have that off the top of our head here? 3, something like that?
Yeah.
The 34-31, something like that?
Something like that. I don't remember the actual.
Thinking out loud here. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right, we got the next game. We get the Monday night game. We got the Browns +4 at the Niners. Total is 46.5. Boof, I'm back on the bandwagon, baby. Back on the bandwagon.
I think I'm making my first, taking my first step onto the bandwagon.
The division champion Cleveland Browns.
I don't know about all that, but
gonna beat the Niners, take the money line.
I like them this week. Let me put it that way.
Dude, come on, man. It's the Niners. They ain't that great. They played crap all year. +4. Give me that all day. I like the Browns on the money line. By the way, side note, if you want to get a little freaky, do a money line parlay of Broncos and Browns. That'll give you a nice little payout. I'm definitely doing that. So join me in the freakiness and get that money on that. But, yeah, I love the Browns. Forget everything I said last week about me jumping off the bandwagon. That didn't even happen. I'm just deleting that from memory. Like you said, Boof, if they win, it all goes away. Well, it all went away because they won. So, Browns, division champions. Beat the Niners.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I like the Browns this week. We're +4. I know the 49ers are undefeated. Their wins are against the Bucks, the Bengals, and the Steelers. And I believe that was Mason Rudolph's first start in that game, in the Steelers game.
Yes.
So, Cleveland looked pretty good, obviously, against the Ravens last week. Jarvis Landry's status coming into this week was in question. It is my understanding that he practiced in full. He did clear concussion protocol.
Yes, he did.
And he is expected to start. So, Cleveland, for the most part, is at full strength. Hubbard did play last week at tackle, which helped out their offensive line situation, which has been a big problem for them going into the game last week. Obviously, if he's playing, they're still going to be in better shape, same way they were against the Ravens. And I expect them to win the game. If you're giving me 4 points, I don't give them back, like I said before. And give me the Browns +4. They are in my top 5, and they are a lock.
Lock that in, baby. Get that money.
That does it for this week's slate of games here.
That is this week's slate of games. I'm almost sad. There's not more games to talk about. I love talking about them so much.
That's all right. I love winning money off of them.
I love winning money too. Money's great. Let's get that money, baby. All right, so let's do top 5 time right here. So we'll do my top 5 is to rehash that. We got Baltimore, Pittsburgh, under 44. That is a lock, I believe.
Yes, sir.
We got Bears -5. We got Pats -15. We got Denver +6.5.
Also a lock.
Also a lock. And Cleveland +4, which also is a lock as well.
And I have the Bills +3. I have the Steelers Ravens under 44. I have the Pats and Redskins under 42. We got the Broncos +6.5 and the Browns +4.
One last thing before we conclude this week's episode of Big Boof Bets, Get That Money podcast, is my teaser of the week, or in honor of National Taco Day, maybe even our cheeser of the week for that extra cheese we're about to make. If you follow my directions on this glorious, tasty teaser. So this week, we are going to do a +7, a 7-point teaser, which will give you KC at -4, Cleveland at +11, Denver at +13.5, the Bills at +10, New England down to -8, and the Pitt-Baltimore game at under 51 points. I love all of that very, very much. Very, very juicy, very, very cheesy, very, very delicious. What do you think of that, Boof?
Sounds pretty delicious to me, baby.
I love it very much.
Cheese.
I love it. I love
like
it. I
cheese.
love it. I like cheese. Get that cake and the cheese and all that stuff. But yeah, so just wanted to throw that in there at the end here. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and go out there and get that money.
Let's get that money.
Get that money.